we'll see if does he sink or he swim.
I always say if you're not cheating, you're not trying. So I understand what he's trying to do.
For some reason, I just have a feeling he's going to finish Paddy.
Paddy the Baddy has always used a little bit of personal animosity as a way of motivating him.
And listen, I'm not knocking Michael Chandler. I'm a fan of
In the cage, Chandler is known for his knockout power and ability to close the distance, even if it occasionally leads to controversial moments with fence grabs or accidental fouls. His game plan usually involves overwhelming his opponent with aggressive striking and using his wrestling experience to control the pace.
I've already visualized knocking out Paddy Pimblett, a couple of the call-outs, a couple of things I'm going to say. First round would be great. I think I'm going to put a pace and a presence on him that he's never felt before. Now, we'll see if does he sink or he swims. I think just because there's been an absence of strength of schedule in his career thus far doesn't mean there's a presence of cowardice. You know, he could be tougher than we think he is. We'll find out. But April 12th, Miami, Florida, UFC 314, we do find out if he sinks or swims. But knock him out first round. Go out there, rip off a crazy promo draped in the stars and the bars. Hopefully President Trump is cage side.
Yeah, he's the nicest man in the world outside the cage. And when he gets in it, he's a dirty bastard, isn't he? I always say if you're not cheating, you're not trying. So I understand what he's trying to do. He wants to win. And that's the main thing when it comes to this game. But yeah, I probably will mention to the ref in the back, like, if he's going to grab me gloves, I'm going to say if he tries to poke me in the eye and stuff like that. Because that one against Charles, lad, when he punched him in the back of the head about 9 times or something, and the ref, I hope that's not my referee, put it that way. I hope I've got a good ref, like Goddard or Herzog. I don't want to have a ref that's just going to let me get rabbit punched in the back of the head consistently. The one what he done to Gage, he was bad as well when he poked him in the eye, and then the ref went to stop it and he just punched him in the face as hard as he could. As I say, Chandler's a real nice fella outside the Octagon. I've bumped into him yesterday and had a chat with him, but in there he's a very, very dirty man.
Pimblett, conversely, relies on speed and technical precision. His slick footwork and unorthodox movement allow him to keep opponents guessing while he capitalizes on openings, particularly on the ground where his submission game can be a hidden weapon. Both fighters bring immense pressure and will look to control key moments early on. The battle will likely boil down to who better adapts in the later rounds and how effectively each fighter can manage their own risk. Dustin Poirier weighs in with his insight on the matchup. Chandler's ferocity is undeniable, Poirier states. He points out that while Michael's aggressive style is his greatest strength, it also leaves openings if he relies too heavily on risk-taking maneuvers. Poirier predicts that if Chandler maintains discipline, avoiding unnecessary fouls, he could edge out a victory by either stoppage in the later rounds or a hard-fought decision. In his view, the fight might see both fighters landing big shots, but ultimately, Chandler's experience could give him the win.
Your buddy Michael Chandler fighting Paddy Pimblett. Now, I know you tweeted, like, put all your money, hammer down on Michael Chandler. Is that just because you spent time with him and you just think he's a better fighter than Paddy? Like, why do you say, like, hammer down that money on Michael Chandler?
I don't know, for some reason, I just have a feeling he's going to finish Paddy. And like you said, I enjoy watching him fight. Just our interactions haven't been the best. But I just think Paddy hasn't fought somebody like that in the UFC yet. The power, the grit, but also just the resume of Chandler. You know, he's fought the best of the best for a long time, multiple-time world champion. It's just a huge step up for Paddy, I think. But we'll see.
Chael Sonnen isn't one to shy away from controversy. Sonnen suggests that this clash will be a war of attrition. He argues, Paddy's heart and unique style can unsettle even the toughest veterans, but Chandler's battle-tested mindset might prevail in the end. Chael envisions a back-and-forth contest where momentum swings dramatically. According to him, if Pimblett can effectively exploit his speed and technical prowess, he might nab a decision victory. However, if Chandler lands his trademark heavy shots, a late-round knockout is very much in the cards.
Michael Chandler is coming off a loss and is going to take on a guy who in the history of his time in the promotion has never lost. It doesn't change the fact of the awkwardness. Paddy the Baddy has always used a little bit of personal animosity as a way of motivating himself. And that's just not a component here. You gotta understand, Paddy is for sure a top 10 draw in the sport. I'm not sure he's not top 5. But Paddy's never fought for title and Paddy's never main evented. To be a top 10 draw without having the power of the machine behind you, it's a big deal. I thought it was a gimmick. No, it's not a gimmick. And frankly, he's not a little kid with funny things to say and an interesting haircut. He's married with 2 kids. This is a grown man who, by the way, is undefeated in the UFC. Like, I have not seen anything from Paddy that would disqualify him from having the potential to be a world champion. I believe he is 2 fights away from fighting for the world championship, but fighting Michael Chandler off a loss. If there's ever a time to not have to face that son of a bitch, it's off a loss.
Former champion Michael Bisping brings his trademark candor to the table. Bisping highlights that while Pimblett's flashy and unconventional style makes him a dangerous opponent, Michael Chandler's fight IQ and raw determination have always shown through during high-stakes moments. When you're in the octagon, heart and experience matter more than just speed, Bisping states. He leans toward a narrow win for Chandler, especially if the veteran's power can dominate the exchanges. Bisping believes the outcome will be decided in the later rounds, where Chandler's conditioning and savvy become the difference.
But on the feet, I think Michael Chandler's probably got the heavier hands. In fact, I know he has. He stood there, he went toe-to-toe with Justin Gagey, with Dustin Poirier, ran right up in his face and just unleashed right hand after right hand after right hand.
Rounds.
That's what I was talking about when I said the fight IQ. He plays to the crowd, and he's kind of a victim of that in some ways because the crowd loves it. I was there when he fought Justin Gagey at Madison Square Garden. It was insane. The energy was palpable. The atmosphere was just electric. I'm telling you, what a night and what a fight that was. But he lost. So as I say, what do you want to do? Do you want to be known as somebody that puts on entertaining fights? Or do you want to actually win the fights? Because, yeah, it's great. Everyone afterwards, they're like, man, you're so entertaining. You're so exciting. You're great on the microphone, doing your Ric Flair, woo, woo, and all the rest of it. Awesome. But did you win? Did you become the champion like he was back in Bellator? Because that was the plan. And listen, I'm not knocking Michael Chandler. I'm a fan of the guy, and I'm a big, big fan of his fights.
UFC superstar and former champion Kamaru Usman adds another perspective. Usman emphasizes the importance of controlling the pace and dictating where the fight takes place. He suggests that Pimblett, while very talented, may be susceptible to Chandler's onslaught if he isn't able to neutralize those heavy shots early. Usman predicts that if Pimblett struggles to maintain his striking rhythm, Chandler's calculated aggression will result in him taking the fight. On balance, Usman's view favors Chandler, but he warns it could be one of the closest matchups we've seen in recent times.
I spent a lot of time with Michael Chandler in this camp. When Michael Chandler's able to bite down and get going, man, he can really hurt you. I think this is also a crossroads for him. I know he waited for that counter fight for a long time and didn't materialize, but if you don't get through Paddy Pimblett here, now I'm dropping fights to the younger guys that aren't as experienced as
Former Olympic gold medalist and UFC star Henry Cejudo gives his 2 cents. Cejudo describes the matchup as a classic battle of youth versus experience. He notes that Chandler's power and technical boxing make him a threat for a knockout, while Pimblett's agility and willingness to take risks could turn the fight on its head. Cejudo's prediction leans toward Chandler winning by a decisive strike, a knockout in the later rounds, provided he avoids any costly mistakes. However, he does acknowledge that a single slip-up could allow Pimblett to surprise everyone with a submission or a stunning upset.
I'm smelling an upset, bro. With Paddy Pimblett, dude, I think he's going to bring in the grappling. I think he might pull guard on this, dude. He's a lot better than what I thought. And what he was able to do to Bobby Green, his transitional stuff. We got to put some respect on that dude's name.
In summary, while the experts lean toward Michael Chandler's experience and power, Paddy Pimblett's speed and innovative style could very well turn the tide. Who do you think will emerge victorious? Drop your predictions in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. If you enjoyed this breakdown, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with every MMA fan you know. Thanks for watching, and remember, fight for your dream, because no one will give it to you.